Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. That's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Plenty to get into as we welcome you back to Hour 2 of Money Moves. This edition of Money Moves brought to you by Polymarket. You can get in on the action with a free $50 using the promo code BUZZ today. That's BUZZ. Story Bonantoni and Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Lots to get into this hour with the NHL's Stanley Cup final ongoing. Craziness last night as we are tied at 2, heading back to Raleigh. Best of 3 now upcoming. Game 4 tonight in the NBA Finals. We will have Steve Popper, covers the Knicks very intimately as one of their beat writers. He's going to join the program in just a little bit. Best bets at the end of the hour. I have put together my World Cup portfolio because your girl needs some skin in the game. We're going to have some fun there. But let's get started on the football side of things. What was that?
Sorry, I'm going to throw my pen at you. You do have a home. No, that's my pen.
I have the same one.
Really?
Have you stolen this from me in the past? It's entirely possible. Let's be real.
How do we know that you didn't steal that from me?
Because I have so many of these. This is like my go-to pen.
This is my go-to pen.
Uh-huh.
I would say that the thing I was going to bring up here with the World Cup starting tomorrow is I was texting with our boss, Steve Cohen, and just so you can be ready and to coordinate, I will be wearing my Mexico kit tomorrow.
So I need to wear America.
Sure, you can do that.
Are you betting Mexico tomorrow in like some way, shape, or form? Because I know the odds.
We got to celebrate.
Tricky.
We got to watch.
Be
Starts
fun.
at 12:30.
Yes, it is pretty cool that we're going to have games on the air as we go, which will be fun. I haven't bet anything game specific wise yet. Just
have to
features.
hang out here and watch it.
So we'll see if we can do something. See if we can get it going.
Yep.
We just talked last segment about doing too many things together.
I just said I'm going to stick around to watch it. You don't have to.
I don't know. Relax. From the world's game in football to
on Fridays.
Football, some college football and NFL news. Obviously, with the NFL, we've got OTAs, mandatory minicamps underway, but the Brendan Sorsby saga, I feel like, continues to take different directions and paths as we go. Yesterday, we know the Big 12 had all of their athletic directors on a call with the commissioner. Then today we see Texas Tech AD Kirby Hocutt come out and release a statement defending his program's actions, outlining, the nuance of the situation in his opinion statement. Far too long in tiny letters for me to read. But shortly after, later on in the day today, Joey McGuire spoke about the ordeal as well. He was meeting with some fans and got asked about it, put in a little bit of a weird situation. But in regards to the 2-game suspension, even called that a stretch, according to the Houston Chronicle, adding, quote, "He's recovering from an addiction. I've sat down with this young man and what he's going through is serious."
Yes. So, look, there's not really that many developments. I would say that the one thing that stuck out to me on social media that was out there, Brandon Marcello has tweeted out, he's senior national college football reporter for CBS Sports, that he was told Texas Tech would consider legal action if athletic programs or conferences tried to exclude them from competition or hinder their scheduling. An appellate lawyer has added to this, and this was retweeted by Amanda Kristovich, who's been covering this entire saga for Front Office Sports. The gist of this here is that until and unless the Amarillo Court of Appeals or the Texas Supreme Court stays or dissolves the valid temporary injunction obtained by Sorsby, Texas Tech would be well within its rights to take legal action against any entity that attempts to punish Tech for complying with the TI. So just keep that in mind. This is all a bunch of legal garbage and nonsense, and this will be settled, I'm sure, by the time we get to next year. I don't think any of these teams and these programs are actually going to band together to say that they would not schedule or play Texas Tech.
Also, outside of that, too, you have the TV contract situation element of it. Are you then going to forfeit games because that's what it would be on your end as an institution.
It's not going to happen.
The NCAA, of course, though, as we talked about, expected to appeal Monday's decision, but that timeline could take up to a year. The court date that is set is February 8th, which is very conveniently after the college football playoff, a couple weeks after that championship would be in. One last little note on this, because I feel like a lot of the conversation has been, at least from the Texas Tech side, about Sorsby. It's about how, yes, he made these bets as a redshirt freshman at Indiana when he wasn't playing for the team, and he was always betting on his team. But there are those bets on him betting, what is it, like passing yards under and some other things individually that he claimed later
just from
on
his account.
that they were just from his account that he had no recollection of. Okay. I'm sorry. Like, does anybody else have access to your betting account? Like, not mine.
No.
So
I
just
got my Face ID on.
interesting wrinkle there to put in there, that especially since yesterday we were talking about the Pete Rose comp and betting on your team. Well, there were some instances in the account in which he was not doing that. So another layer to this whole debacle. But okay, let's get into a little bit of the NFL. We have several headlines coming out of practices, including with the Arizona Cardinals, a few actually in Arizona. I'll start with this just real quickly because I know there was some concern about Josh Sweat missing all of the voluntary offseason program. He's been working out on his own. Mike LaFleur said he is not worried about it at all, said he's done this for years. He's going to be ready with his prep, not concerned about it. But he's there for mandatory minicamp, still not practicing. But a layer of that is because he missed phase 1 and phase 2. It's a ramp up process in terms of playing football and doing organized activities. So wants to make sure he is all set on that side of things.
Yeah.
You want to.
My fault. Or are we going to play that sound there? Okay. Sorry. I apologize.
No, jump in.
So I would say that I'm with you. Like all of these stories when it comes to attendance, working out, whatever it is, as we always say, or at least I always say, you can wake me up when we get a little bit closer and find out what that is. But all the signs are pointing to that this is going to be pretty solid and that Sweat's going to be out there. So no need to worry. Jacoby Brissett also, no need to worry.
You wanted to talk about this running back situation, though.
I did. Well, I just thought this was interesting. So this was tweeted out from LaFleur's media availability the other day, and he was asked about the depth of the running back position, which the Cardinals do have quite a bit of depth. And a lot of people were harping on and really hanging on to this part of the quote from LaFleur. I can't remember. What did they do at the top of the draft? The Arizona Cardinals. They draft Jeremiah Love. Was that what it is, right?
That's what they did, yes.
Was that was like the 12th pick? What was that?
A little higher.
Okay.
A little higher.
So you would assume that maybe he gets to share the workload, but a lot of people are freaking out after LaFleur had this to say.
You want to be able to divvy that thing up. Now, you can't have everybody up on game day because of obviously the roster limitations right there. But if we can split it up, keep it fresh, have a third down back, like we're not at that point, but that's the perfect world. And we'll see what's the best thing, going into September. With that being said, just like if Steph Curry's on fire and he's supposed to get his sub, you're not taking the hot hand out. And that's kind of the same approach you end up taking with a back. Like a back, just like a basketball player, any football player can get into a rhythm. It's like just keep giving him the football. Like he's just feeling it right now.
Interesting words for a coach who does have the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year on his roster, Jeremiah Love plus 320.
Hey, Tyler Algier ain't no slouch.
I mean, they do. I mean, it was also part of going into the draft why a lot of people were like, are they really going to draft him here? Because they do have running back depth, and it's not necessarily, of course, a position of strength. And going back to highest running back drafted since Saquon Barkley, like all those sort of things. So you can talk about the depth that they have, and you could probably say all the right things. And again, we're in June. He's you're asked so many questions at media availability from now until the start of the regular season. You're probably just talking shop about the general thought process of what the running back room looks like as an offensive-minded coach. I would highly doubt that Jeremiah Love is going to see his snaps cut into, considering what they've invested in him from a draft position standpoint and from, of course, by extension, a monetary standpoint.
Agreed. What's James Conner going to be coming back from the injury, by the way?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's the other thing, too. By the way, what I also find fascinating, because I wanted to bring up this Offensive Rookie of the Year market, not only because Love. Do you have it in front of you? Don't look it up.
No, I don't.
Do you know who the second choice is off the top of your head to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? It's quarterback.
Is it Ty Simpson?
It's Fernando Mendoza at 4-1.
That was stupid of me. But
no, of course.
Where is Ty Simpson on the odds board, though? Because I'm curious what the bang for your buck
should
would
not be listed.
Why are you surprised about that for Fernando?
Ty Simpson's 50-1 because they don't want him to play.
Yeah, but
because Kirk Cousins is going to start.
But Kirk Cousins has had his fair share of injuries too, and he's an older quarterback.
Well, sure, but the second choice for a guy that a team is outwardly saying
is not going to start week 1, yes,
or 2 or 3 or 4 if they have their way. If they have their way, Fernando Mendoza is not starting. Period. So even if, because look, we're not going to do this again. We did this last year. We played the clips on the show when there was that push for Tyler Shuck to win Offensive Rookie of the Year because he started late and then got off to a pretty decent little run. And a lot of people were like, look at, he could do it. He didn't even come close to winning the award. I just think, I'll put it this way. You shouldn't be betting Fernando Mendoza at 4-1 because he's not going to start the season barring any sort of injury for Kirk Cousins. If you really think Mendoza's got a shot, you'll wait. You wait till Kirk Cousins has some start under his belt, but he should not be the second most likely choice to win Rookie of the Year.
Is there a more polar opposite quarterback situation in the NFL right now than what's going on with the love fest of Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza compared to the awkwardness of what's going on in Minnesota with Kyler Murray and JJ McCarthy right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Although apparently we were talking about this in the commercial break, Kyler Murray not looking awesome so far, but he's been impacted, at least in his opinion, by the limited reps.
Yeah, I was reading some Minnesota Vikings reporters that he didn't get off to a great start. I think there's some interceptions there, and it does seem that this is to the point of what we discussed the other day, because when we discussed it, the odds for Kyler Murray to start week 1 were minus 1,000. And we brought it up like, minus 1,000 for what is being told to us is a true competition at quarterback. Well, a lot of the noise and signal coming out is that it is a competition, that it's 50-50 reps, that Murray is, again, we're at the start of mandatory minicamp, but that it's not off to the best start for a Kyler Murray type. Now, maybe this is out there. I just have not seen it. My eyes have not come across English words that have said that JJ McCarthy is killing it right now. So let's not, exactly expect that to be the case.
I have seen some, though. I guess he had one incompletion yesterday. Okay, right. And our guy, Thor Nystrom, who has been on the JJ McCarthy train forever. We love you, Thor. Great draft analyst.
Got
we had
a little quiet the last couple of months, but it's back again.
He quote tweeted the beat reporter and was like, "The stories of JJ McCarthy's decline have been greatly exaggerated."
I mean, I just
this is such off-season fodder, bar. Is it not? Though
it is, but it's also, I'm just saying that if JJ McCarthy wins a quarterback competition, it's not like he took down Tom Brady.
Fair, although. I mean, if there's one thing we know about Kyler Murray, it's like first 6 weeks of the season, the dude's awesome.
It's a Hurricanes-esque, and a new Call of Duty comes out this year. I know you wanted to point that out.
No.
It's a Hurricanes-esque, like, hey, we got to give the Conn Smythe to somebody, I guess, on the winning team. Same thing with winning the Vikings quarterback battle.
Speaking
Kevin
of
O'Connell's
which,
like, I got to give it to one of these guys.
Who the hell is that going to be? And we talked about it earlier. We can bring it up. We're talking NBA next segment, but later on this hour, let's discuss a little bit of that Conn Smythe NHL stuff, because our boy Jordan Staal give Jonathan Davis credit. He brought this up as just like a shot in the dark type of a thing for the captain. He was 100-1 plus, as high as 175-1. He's plus 550 for Conn Smythe now. What has this guy turned into in the Stanley Cup final? Could he end up being the guy that wins by default? Who knows? We're talking NBA though next. Stay with us.
Hey, let me get your attention real quick, podcast listeners. I've got something for you that feels too good to be true. First, credit where credit is due. If you're listening to this podcast, you're already leveling up your betting game. You're riding along with our best bets and top angles. And when there's a good game on, you're probably getting involved with a few props and alt markets as well. But there's one more layer if you really want to step things up, and that's VSiN Pro. Yeah, I've mentioned it before, but things are only getting better for our pro subscribers. We just rolled out our MLB prop projections, breaking down some of the best edges across strikeouts, hits, home runs, and more. And that's on top of everything else pro subscribers already get, including public betting splits, expert picks, and betting guides across the sports calendar. If you haven't tried it yet, stop sleeping on it. You can get your first month for just $9.99 or save big with promo code POD26 on an annual subscription. Hit the link in the description and start cashing in with VSiN Pro. All right, now back to the show.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Square Garden were big on Monday, but the letdown was even bigger as the Knicks saw their 13-game win streak come to an end. So much for home sweet home. It has been road sweet road in the NBA Finals to this point. Can the Knicks turn the tide tonight? We will discuss it all. Excited to have Steve Popper join us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Knicks beat reporter and NBA columnist at Newsday. You can also follow him on X at Steve Popper. And Steve, I know there was so much excitement ahead of Game 3. It's been so long since the Knicks have hosted a home NBA Finals game. But would it be fair to say tension and pressure was also in the arena a little bit? How did you see it in Game 3?
I think the fans may have felt it. I don't think it was the players. If anything, they came out a little bit flat, which was kind of odd. Maybe a little bit of his breaking routine. They did things differently. They never shoot around at the arena. They spent the day in the city. It's a little different than what they normally do here in New York. It may have just been a day where the Spurs played better and played harder than they did, which is probably hard to accept, but that might have been what it was. I think for the fans, it was kind of crazy here, what we saw with, the president here and all of the, more celebrities here than you get, at a Oscar night. It was kind of crazy, but it's something that I think they're used to here in the Garden. And I actually thought the Knicks would be able to handle that better because they've seen it for so long.
All right, so let's go with a couple of things here. First off, let's start with Brunson. 81 points on 80 shot attempts. How do they unlock him offensively?
Yeah, I think this is a kind of series where you've got to kind of play the offense through somebody else. They're great at disrupting the backcourt. They have very physical, very athletic guards with size. It almost reminds me of the Atlanta series where Dyson Daniels was doing a great job at him, and the Knicks then turned to Karl Anthony Towns, sort of becoming the hub of the offense. I don't know how well that works with Karl Anthony Towns because they also have people who can kind of harass him. But I think it's, you saw it some in Game 3. Just great ball movement is the thing, and maybe using Josh Hart as a facilitator a little bit more. It's a tough situation for them because this is a team that matches up defensively very well with them.
What has the response been, real quickly, with the Wemby wrap and shove on Jalen Brunson not being upgraded to a flagrant one? What's that response been like in New York from fans to this point?
Well, I was going to say it's a very different response from the players versus the fans. The players pretty much ignored the whole, fouls and the hard fouls controversy. Jalen Brunson's only statement on it was, "You saw what you saw." And basically disregarded it. Jose Alvarado kind of said, that's the last time he'll get away with that. The fans, though, have been in an uproar here, kind of feeling that the league is protecting him. And it's not the first time it happened in this series. I don't want to say, he's a brilliant guy and a brilliant young player, but he's gotten a little reputation in this postseason. What he did with Naz Reid out of frustration, and I understand he doesn't want to get teams are trying to bully him and use, not a huge guy physically. They're trying to bully him and he's trying to fight back. But the Naz Reid thing, then when Jose Alvarado in Game 2, I think, was boxing him out, he did sort of a similar thing to what he did with Brunson. Did it again with Brunson. He hasn't gotten called for them. He didn't get a suspension with the Naz Reid thing. I think he's kind of been fortunate with that. I think, it sort of lends me to believe that the Knicks feel like, if it happens again, they're going to police it themselves, which, look, no one wants to see, and no one wants to see players suspended or anyone playing shorthanded. So I wish the referees would take hold of it and watch for these things.
By the way, I would love to see, I think it was Jose Alvarado, right, that said something like that, like, hey, we'll take care of it ourselves, won't happen again. So we'd love to see Jose Alvarado take matters into his own hands. Steve, I'm curious, when you look at some of these lineup adjustments that Mike Brown could make, one of the things that I brought up, because you brought up Josh Hart, could we see more of this lineup in which Landry Shamet replaces Josh Hart? Because statistically, those five out there, Shamet, Brunson, Bridges, Anunoby, and Towns, has been dominant in this postseason.
Shamet definitely brings more shooting, although he's coming off a game where he didn't have it going, and when he doesn't handle the ball quite as much as I think he's naturally a point guard, so he does have the ability to do it. But I think he doesn't bring the gravity, the downhill sort of force that they get from Josh Hart. I think they'd like to keep Josh Hart in there because he does so many different things on the floor. But you're absolutely right. It's, there's times where they need a safety valve, from Brunson and Towns here, and the shooting is the way to do it. Josh Hart was hitting his shots, and Shamet wasn't in Game 3. They still lost it, so I think this is where you see the adjustments. And by the way, on the Jose Alvarado thing, there might be no one on the team that I think would be more likely to try and jump up to the top of his leap and try and take a punch at him. We saw Mark Williams, before he was with the Knicks. He's a guy. He is definitely a all-heart Brooklyn kid.
All right, what about Karl Anthony Towns? Because we always talk about adjustments, but sometimes an adjustment is just, hey, play better. I thought Towns was really passive, especially when he got smaller guys on him. Did you see that from him in Game 3, and what's your expectation for him in Game 4?
Yeah, and I will say, they did have smaller guys on him, but they're not. It's not like that he's got a 6'3" guard who he can easily handle.
Yeah.
Hassel is 6'5", strong, athletic, long, and he just seemed to harass him and be all over him. If we see that again, I think it's tough for him to do the facilitating that he did. But I think part of it wasn't Towns' fault. I think the Knicks just were not moving off the ball the way they normally do, and that I think as soon as the game was over in post game, and then again yesterday, that's what we've heard from the Knicks is they got away from what they do best. Playing with pace, playing with ball movement, guys moving bodies around. When Brunson or Towns is kind of stuck, there was too much standing around and watching one guy try and create. I think they need, they have guys who are very good at it. Mikal Bridges is a very good cutter. They need guys who are moving up the ball, relocating, sort of causing havoc. And look, what the Spurs want to do so often is just locate Victor, in the paint and let him just basically be a deterrent. So it's interesting to see, sort of a chess game. If the Knicks can do that, get him moving around. We all saw that in Game 2, that one play where you basically exhausted him on one play with them, just moving, getting in the paint, spraying it out to the corner over and over again. 5 guys cutting in and out of the lane, sort of making him dizzy. I think that's ideally the way they'd like to play.
Last thing for you to that end, we've talked so much about if the Knicks do ultimately go on to win this series, Karl Anthony Towns is going to be such a key piece in this. In terms of NBA Finals MVP, in your mind, how this shakes out, like who do you give the edge to between him and Jalen Brunson? Because Brunson will have the point production, maybe some of the fourth quarter clutch points, but Karl Anthony Towns against Wemby is such an important piece of what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think it's sort of one of those to be determined by what we see, in the next 2 wins if they get there. In the first 2 games, I thought even when Victor got off a little bit in the fourth quarter of Game 2, I thought Karl was outplaying him both games. And if you told anyone that Karl was going to outplay Wemby in this series, you'd have looked at for a Knicks sweep here. But Brunson, it's sort of what you don't see in the box score. He does so many things. His shooting efficiency has not been good, but he does so many things that make it easier for everyone else. And look, in Game 1 and 2, when he did not shoot well, I think he shot 28% or something like that, 19 for 56. He came up with huge plays at the end of both games, not just scoring, but the ball that he tapped out on an offensive rebound, among the trees at 6'1", 6'2", to create the chance for the go-ahead three-pointer that he hit, to put them ahead for good in Game 1. In Game 2, he comes up, I think what he was looking for was a charge at midcourt. When that ball hit off Castle's back, he was the one who was there to steal it, hit the free throw, for the decisive point in the game. He just has a knack for always being in the right spot. I wrote a column the other day likening it almost to Derek Jeter, where you're like, well, he doesn't belong in that spot. He shouldn't be running over on the first baseline. It's not where the shortstop belongs, but somehow he's there and he makes the right play, and it's history. And I think Brunson has a little bit of that. I still think that, when we get to the end of it, it's going to be hard for anyone not to vote for Brunson. But,
okay.
If Karl dominates against Wembanyama, it's definitely the key to the series.
Fair evaluation, Steve. Thank you so much for the time. Enjoy the game and the environment tonight.
You got it. Thank you very much.
Get there early. Taylor Swift is going to be there.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, actually. Real quickly, Jalen Brunson, by the way, plus 105 on the odds board, 46% over at Polymarket right now as well. Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. Polymarket will actually let you cash out before the final buzzer, unlike traditional sportsbooks where you got to lock it in until the game's over. You're in control of your position the entire time. If you haven't checked it out, now's the best time to do it. You can get started with a free $50 using the promo code BUZZ at Polymarket, BUZZ. Trading not available in in all jurisdictions. Check your local regulations before trading. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. But Taylor Swift, I do have something more to tell you about this when we come back on Money Moves.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Tony and Jonathan Von Tobel with you back here on this Wednesday edition of Money Moves. This show brought to you by Polymarket. Get in on the action with a free $50 using the promo code BUZZ today. That's BUZZ. And actually on Polymarket right now, JVT, there is a market for who will attend, and obviously a game at MSG, all the fanfare. We were talking just in the last segment with Steve Popper about how it's basically like the Oscars in the front row with all the celebrities that they have there. And you mentioned Taylor Swift is going to be there. Page 6 revealing that a little bit earlier. So this not in the market, although maybe she's just scouting her wedding venue. Because did you see that?
Yeah, apparently that's where they're getting married, right?
That's where they're going to get it done. But in the who will attend market, I thought some of the higher volume picks were really interesting. Adam Sandler at the top of the list, 88%. Aaron Judge, Yankees playing this morning, an off day, but obviously he's not playing at all right now. So while he's resting and recovering, might he go to MSG? That's very high on the list. Tony Parker, Jimmy Fallon, 50 Cent, Anne Hathaway. Cam Scatteraboo was there the other day.
Interesting. Couple of things here. First off, the Knicks winning streak since he chatted up Anne Hathaway in The Devil Wears Prada 2
just
did
came
get
to
snapped.
an end.
Yep. So that magic is worn out.
Maybe they need her back then. That's how you get it restarted.
The other is I believe that the celebrities have ruined, and this comes from someone who is anti-New York. Keep that in mind.
Did it come from you?
But these celebrities... Yeah, it comes from me right now. These celebrities have absolutely ruined everything for New York, and that is why they lost that game. That was not a real atmosphere. New Yorkers deserve better. The real fans have been priced out of being in these games. I want the psychopaths. I want my Christian's Dior guy, right? I want that guy who's dancing with the robot in the street. I want those people in that arena. And instead, it's this hoity-toity wine and cheese crowd that barely understands basketball. DJ Khaled won't get off his phone yesterday. It's an awful environment in comparison to what it could be if there were real fans in there. And the actual New Yorkers, again, I think a lot of you are annoying, but you deserve better, and they should be in that arena, not these rich fools that have absolutely ruined the environment. And also,
a couple of the rich fools are really big fans, though.
No, stop.
Timothy Chalamet and Ben Stiller are really big fans.
Maybe Chalamet gets it, but he's rich.
You see all the little kid pictures of him and the stuff that he was doing. Come on.
No, he's crossed the Rubicon. He's too rich.
Speaking of crossing things, the one thing that does bother me about Chalamet in these games is get off the court. How many times is he going to be out there on the court farther than the official? Stay in your seat, dude. That does bother me. I don't like that.
Chalamet does hope that the Knicks win, and if you think the Knicks can win and would like to bet the money line price on Polymarket minus 117. You want to bet a little bit cheaper than the $1.35 that is out there as well.
Okay, there you go. Oh, also speaking of the price, I did like that report that Lisa Salters did at the beginning of the game, talking about what the median price was over $7,000. Dude, she was as non-existent in that interview with Victor Wembanyama as Karl Anthony Towns in the fourth quarter. Boom.
We'd see the top of your head at least, right?
If you
were interviewing Wembanyama, we'd see the top of your head.
You should be able to. I'd wear heels too, so I'd be about 6'1".
So just your eyes?
Lisa Salters. How tall is Lisa Salters?
Don't you know her?
Lisa Salters' height. No, I do not know Lisa. 5'2". Okay. So yeah.
He's quite literally 2 feet taller.
She couldn't even lift it up more.
I mean, in the true nature of New York, she was hitting the Statue of Liberty, just putting it up there.
We'll have best bets on the NBA Finals a little bit later on in the program when we close things out.
Can I point to were you going to move on from the finals? Because I want to follow up on a couple of things really quickly before you move on.
Then do it.
Because I did mention, and I like to put context behind words. I did mention that the lineups with Landry Shamet have performed very well here in this postseason, and so the whole logic here being, and we'll get to best bets because this is part of it too, but. When you replace Landry Shamet in that Josh Hart in that starting lineup with Landry Shamet, this offense has exploded, and it's a very small sample size, so keep that in mind. But Jalen Brunson, Landry Shamet, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns in this postseason so far, Stormy, have a plus 77.8 net rating and average 1.5 points per possession when they're out there on the floor together. For those who are wondering, yes, really good. That's an astronomical rate when you're looking at what that is from an efficiency standpoint. And it just speaks to when you're out there, you've got these 5 shooters out there, you spread it out, you don't let Wemby clog up the floor. And now over a much larger sample size, so you're not going to be as efficient. Hart is still very good with him in that same spot. They're plus 12.4 per 100 possessions. 121.2 is the offensive rating. But just worth pointing out that, again, the offense getting a little stagnant in the half court. One of the adjustments you could see is that starting 5 just tweaked ever so slightly. Not that they're going to bench Hart at the beginning of the game, but that you might see some more rotations of Shamet in place of Josh Hart with those other 4 as this game goes along to get that spacing out there, because you just can't have Wembanyama playing off Josh Hart, clogging up the paint and protecting the basket the way that he was.
Okay. And again, we're out to 2.5 in favor of the Knicks right now, total 216.5. Something that I wanted to follow up on our NHL conversation from a little bit earlier, because we talked about all of the goaltending issues and the way that these teams have been scoring. For the first time in this series, we have seen a total adjustment. So we are at, while it is still a consensus flat 6, there are 6.5s at the big major national books in DraftKings and FanDuel. All of the 6s that you see available are juiced to the over now, the way that it sits. This is every single game has had 7 or more goals scored. It's an average of 8.3 goals per game. The 33 goals that we have seen so far in the entirety of these 4 games has already gone over what the series goal total was set at, as well as being the most combined goals we've seen through 4 games in a cup final since 1981. Over. So it took 4 games to get the adjustment.
We're going over.
Still rolling with it? Have you bet any?
I don't think the bus was not great in that game.
I would agree.
So, I mean, I
am very curious to see what happens moving forward.
That goal?
Yes.
What do you mean? Don't you have to stick with bus? You got the win.
I think so. And I just don't know the status of Freddie Anderson in general right now.
Yeah, the healthy scratch is weird.
Like, to think that this guy was as low as, 2-1 to win Conn Smythe and has been your second shot on the board the entirety of the postseason, and now is a healthy scratch in a game?
Yeah, that seemed aggressive to me. So maybe there is more, because I was like, man, I don't think my guy played that bad. Like, he doesn't deserve all that.
Yeah, I feel
so it's embarrassing.
The explanation to me can't be rest. It has to be that he couldn't go.
But I would assume that you're sticking with the bus going into this next game, just because, look, he wasn't good. Again, he gave up 3 goals on 21 shot attempts, somewhere around there.
Yep.
His save percentage around 85. So he wasn't particularly great. But as you guys talked about with Carter Hart, and when I asked the question to JD about Jonathan Davis, our NHL analyst, which was, why aren't we talking about Carter Hart before that game yesterday? And the response was, well, he just doesn't let in the one. Well, Bus didn't let in the one. He got lucky, though. Because at the end of that first period, if there's enough time, like you said, if there's 0.2 of a second left on that clock, and that is a goal, you have no idea how this game goes as you move forward. I think that I know there's been this adjustment, but very clearly in these games, there has been no sign that these games are slowing down from that standpoint. And I will reiterate for the bajillionth time that these 2 teams, from an expected goal standpoint, the best in this postseason, and that has played out again here in this series.
And again, Carter Hart, first goalie in history now to allow 4+ goals in each of the first 4 games of a Stanley Cup final. You talk about how Bussy made the gotta have it save. In this case, Carter Hart did not, as Jordan Staal gets the game winner at 6:32 remaining in the 3rd period, falling on the ice too. Just such a weird, both that goal and the empty net goal to end it, just really weird goals that ultimately gives Carolina the win in this spot. But for Jordan Staal, 2 goals last night, JVT, 5 in the series. He's the first player with 5 goals in the first 4 games of a cup final since Mario Lemieux in 92. First captain to do it ever. First player 37 plus to do it ever. 5 goals, also the most by a Canes skater in a championship series, period. And he put it well post-game, said it's the right time to get hot. Prior to this series, however, 2 goals in all. He's had 5 this series. 4 assists in all. He's got 6 points in this series.
Okay.
The odds market for Conn Smythe is bonkers, because this
Wait, are you saying it's incorrect?
I don't know, because of the craziness that we have right now. He went from being over 100 to 1 to being plus 550, plus 650 on the board. He hasn't done anything all postseason, but he's the captain stepping up in the gotta have it games in the Stanley Cup final. You've got narrative on his side. I think it's ridiculous if he were to win it, given the production for the entirety of the postseason for what this award is supposed to be. But credit Jonathan Davis for bringing this up as a proposition on Friday, because I wasn't for it.
Well, sounds like Mitch Marner's worth playing then.
Minus 105 right now. He added another assist to the tally. According to Dan Rosen, fifth player in the past 106 years to record 8 or more points through his first career Stanley Cup final games. A very select list again that also has Mario Lemieux on it, by the way. He has done a lot of historic things. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I could see this being a buy point again, since you were saying yesterday, even minus 205 is probably cheap compared to what he is right now, because the Canes haven't had anybody stand up. If it's Stahl, that's ridiculous to me.
I mean, I think you're right. I think you have a right read on this, and I would not look. I think these markets have no clue what's going on with these awards, so I would not be deterred in my thought that Marner can still win this despite a loss potentially. Because I think these awards markets are grasping at straws with every single, fart in the wind. They'll actually move everything, and I think that's probably why.
I hope I'm just not sounding bitter because I have a 12-1 on Marner. Would really like to see that come through, but it's.
I know you got something to read, but just real quick, just look at what our buddy Steve just said, who covers the Knicks. You asked him about Finals MVP, and what did he say? To be determined. If these voters have not thought at all about who they would vote for, or they have, but they don't have a ranking that they would do every single day, adjusting it every single day. They'll vote at the end of the series.
I heard Elliot Freeman say on his ballot he would put in he doesn't. I don't know if he has a vote. I don't know who. No, he doesn't have a vote. He said it would be Marner and then Shea Theodore on his tally. It was just crazy. Reminder, guys, the World Cup coming up tomorrow. If you haven't joined the Splash Sports $1 Million Guaranteed Contest for Survivor, you have to. $1,000 to enter, $1 million on the line. Splashsports.com/VSiN.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Game 4 of the NBA Finals upon us tonight. And did you know Polymarket lets you cash out before the final buzzer? Unlike traditional sports books where you're locked into the game until it ends, you're in control of your position the entire time. You can get started today with a free $50 using promo code BUZZ at Polymarket. That's BUZZ. Trading not available in all jurisdictions. Check local regulations before trading. Restrictions and eligibility requirements do apply, though, as we welcome you back to Money Moves. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. We've been talking Game 4 all day, rightfully so. Big one on deck. Spurs obviously fall in both games to start the series at home. Then at MSG are able to bounce back. Why are you laughing at me? Yes, I took a deep breath. I had to think through my thought. You don't have to laugh at me.
Very deep breath.
And then and take away my flow that I was eventually going to get to. Okay? That said, I do have a play in this game today. You ended up going the prop way, I believe.
Yeah, I did. But I believe the order that they would prefer is for you to go first.
Well, I have a lot more than you.
Okay.
So I was hoping you would go first today.
All right, Landry Shamet over 1.5 3-pointers, minus 135. To again reiterate, Shamet has, I think, a bigger role in this series. You need to spread the floor out. Hart can hit threes, but if you go back to the way that they played in this last game, the San Antonio Spurs on defense, Stormy, they did a lot of what we expected them to do at the beginning of the series, which was put Victor Wembanyama on Josh Hart and live with some of the smaller mismatches in the other places and say, we can just have Wemby roam and protect the paint and clog up the center. And that really worked for him. It worked out very well, which is why the half-court offensive rating was as poor as it was. I think, and I don't think Josh Hart's going to get benched to start it, but I do think if Mike Brown's going to make any adjustment, it's going to lean into this shooting lineup with Shamet out there instead of Hart, with OG Anunoby, with Mikal Bridges, with Karl Anthony Towns. And then at any point, Victor Wembanyama does have to stay along the perimeter. He does have to challenge. Look, he's good enough to close out strong and do all those sort of things. He's long enough to do it. But it just opens up the floor so much more if you can do it. And I think that means that Shamet, who, if I remember correctly, I think had 7 3-point attempts in the last game. I'll have to double check on that one. But either way, I do think that this is going to be a game that you're going to see more Landry Shamet. And to ask him to hit 2 3-pointers, I think he's going to be able to do it. And he was 1 of 7 in that last game. So I think the opportunity is going to be there. Few more minutes as well. Remember, he played 33 and 30 in games 1 and 2, and they ended up getting those wins. And I think that it makes sense to put him out there again. Minus the foul trouble, too. He had 5 fouls in the last game. So you got to also stay on the court if you're Landry Shamet. But over 1.5 3-pointers, minus 135.
Okay. You have baseball play as well?
Yeah, I took the Mets today. Talked about the red-hot Cardinals and how well they've been playing, but I thought $1.30 was fair to play against Palante and the Cardinals today. So we'll take our shot in baseball with the New York Metropolitans.
Okay. I am, like I said yesterday.
I'm going to get out of here.
I think ready to get hurt again.
You got a lot, so I'm going to get out of here.
Well, I would like to discuss some of them with you. The bets are in. Okay, so now I'm not asking you, should I bet it? I already did it, but to have a conversation on if you think I'm crazy or not. But in general, though, the Knicks, -1.5. I bet it last night. I said yesterday at the end of Best Bets I was probably going to do it after we got off the air and did. So just putting this into the account now. Obviously, it's up to 2.5, but there are plenty of 2s out there and a really cheap money line. The cheapest I saw, -125, if you want to take it in a different direction today. All of this to say, I just have a feel for how the series is going to go, that the Knicks are going to handle business at home. We're going to go back to San Antonio. Spurs are going to win that game, and then we'll see what happens after that. But I like the Knicks at home in a bounce back spot. I think last game there was a little bit of an adjustment and I think a lot of pressure in the moment. It was a much more physical game than we have seen. I think the officiating will dial into that a little bit more today as well. But yeah, Knicks -1.5. It's just the way that I'm rolling with it. And I hope Karl Anthony Towns, to your earlier discussion when we were getting into finals MVP, has a good bounce back performance himself today against Victor Wembanyama. Now going to the World Cup, which is set to get underway tomorrow. I am very chalky, but I'm just having some fun. These are fun bets for me. Fade me if you want. I don't care. This is just something that, so I will be more drawn in and inclined to watch these games and care throughout the entirety of the World Cup after USA is inevitably axed early. Not early enough, however, to not win Group D. As you see, I have there them to win the group at +140. This is essentially just a country play, as well as tailing two of our great analysts that we have had breaking down the World Cup this week. 2 for 2 on people picking Group D, USA as the winner. Both Anthony Dabbundo of The Ringer yesterday, Chris Vasily of Covers gave this out on the show, and I'm going to tail and roll with and support country in that standpoint. France to win it all, France to make the semifinal. In terms of the outright, it's 5-1 to make the semi +130. All of the smart analysts that I have talked about feel like it's kind of this coin flip between Spain and France. So at least to make the semi, that's probably my favorite bet of the whole thing at +130. But then to win it all and win that coin flip, knowing some of the injuries that Spain is going through right now. And Kylian Mbappe, Golden Boot, to have the most goals. The goal of this is to target a player on a team you anticipate making a deep run that's also a good goal scorer. Obviously, he is their best one. I can't bet the most goals on your own team, but he's -145 to do that as well. I probably would have added it if I had it available to me from that standpoint, but he won the 2022 Golden Boot, plays for a team with a ton of offensive creators. If I'm very pro France and them advancing far and winning it all, obviously he's going to need to be a key piece of that. So a lot of correlated plays here, but it's an embarrassment of riches really on that team right now. A relatively difficult group stage in terms of the opponent defensively, but you still think should be able to score goals. It's Norway, Senegal, Iraq, should be very dangerous in the knockout stages beyond that. So that's how I'm rolling there. And then something that I like to do in general, and I've done this in the NHL postseason. I didn't do it in the NBA playoffs this year, but taking a series essentially and doing a favorites parlay, or my favorite teams to advance from a series. I'm doing my favorite countries to advance from a group, or to win their respective groups rather. Switzerland, England, and Belgium, put them all together +210.
Cool. Like it.
I'm excited.
The France thing, if you're right, obviously too, you should note that more games as well, so more opportunities for Mbappe.
Yeah, that's what I say. You're targeting a team that you anticipate going far.
Makes a lot of sense. The only thing I have so far is Erling Haaland for the Golden Boot. So 12-1.
Good tease, though, as well. So JVT and Mitch Moss, who you're going to hear coming up next for Follow the Money, he and Paul on the desk for the next 3 hours once we wrap things up on Pod to the Futures this week. You guys dove into a lot of things, but one of those markets that you did a pretty deep dive on was specifically for Golden Boot and certain things to target. So interesting conversation for people to go listen to. What else was on the pod this week?
Talked a lot about AL MVP and some Karl Anthony Towns Finals MVP and some of the discussion around that, as we were well ahead of the NBA Finals that are going to get started tonight. But AL MVP was a big topic as well as we got ready for it. But World Cup is going to be fun, man. I am looking forward to it. It'll get started tomorrow at 12:30. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll have the Mexico game on.
Yes. We talked about it earlier, but it'll be really fun throughout the course of the coming weeks to have games on while we're on the air, previewing what's to come, but also giving you some live angles as we go in those games. Speaking of things that we're going to be having going on. You have gone to the A's games the last couple days that are here in town. Are you going again tonight?
No, not tonight. I don't think I'm going to go out there tonight, although I might. I have yet to decide what that's going to be, but those have been...
it's tougher on the NBA nights for you.
Of course. And the total 14.5. I think
That's just crazy.
I might just have to go in for another S's and G's kind of parlay to go back and bet that thing over and have some fun with it, because I do think tonight's a really good candidate to go over. I know last night we talked about maybe team total over for the A's was the better way to do it. That got there, but tonight, given the pitching matchup and the temperature today and the fact that it's a little bit earlier in the day, so you're still going to get some of that sunlight, it's going to be pretty warm. I think you have a pretty good opportunity to go over today. 14.5 the total. It's so wild, man.
Well, yesterday, again, the total was 13.5, and it still goes under, but still 12 runs scored.
Correct.
And if that's any indication as to what we're going to get once again this week. Also, as part of the show today, I did want to recap real quickly before we head out for anyone who missed it. And again, remember, you can always listen to Money Moves wherever you get your podcasts. Listen on your own time if you want to catch up and hear the full discussion. But we had Christopher Powers on of Golf Digest, the RBC Heritage getting underway tomorrow north of the border, and said he really likes Alex Fitzpatrick this week as a pretty good number, 40-1. He and a lot of other people seem to be fading Colin Morikawa. Some other long shots, though, he liked Greiserman, Potgieter among the names that he mentioned with us. So listen to the full breakdown. He's great. We've had him on a number of times throughout the PGA Tour season. But for an event like this, despite not having all of the stars, still some really good and interesting names and a lot of value on the board going into tomorrow.
Yeah. If I could harken back really quickly, because I wanted to point this out with this game out here tonight. Some of the odds you're getting on these guys to hit home runs tonight is pretty comical. Nick Kurtz is under 2-1 at plus 198. I mean, we're getting over 220 on some of these guys that hit homers at the beginning of the series. And now you're really not getting anything off of it. So it is wild when you're looking at the way this thing has gone. But the contact is crazy. When you're out there, you hear it, you see the way they're playing, dude. That ballpark. They should do it with the games more often in ballparks like that.
It's really fun. Okay, that's a wrap for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, breaking it all down. But keep it locked right here. As we said, Mitch and Paul coming up next with Follow the Money. A couple great guests on deck today. Brian Mahoney with his best bets for the NBA Finals. Game 4 coming on tonight. Dallin Cuff with his World Cup preview. And then, of course, rolling it into the night, VSiN Primetime, Femi Abebefe, and Dustin Sweetelson. Have a great day, everybody. Good luck with the plays and enjoy the action at MSG.